I realized that we were just 60% of America was just kind of tuned out, never even knew anything about the Russia hoax. And what I call it is the funnel effect. So it's when you take that 95%, you feed it through a funnel, which ultimately becomes these phones right here, right, that are going through, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, et cetera. And then the left is deciding what people are able to see, especially those people that are most important, like conservatives, people that always vote. I mean, they're going to know the difference. But it's those people who really only vote in general elections. They don't pay attention a whole hell of a lot. But they want to do their civic duty. And I mean, we sat there for year after year pounding away. It was clear the only people that had anything to do with Putin and Russia, or Hillary Clinton and the Democrats and Adam Schiff and the Democrats on the committee. I mean, it was plain day, direct evidence that this wasn't complicated.
So you are running Truth Social. It's obviously President Trump's platform. I think some people know that the infrastructure is run by the Rumble cloud. For total transparency, I am part owner of Rumble because of the deal that we did with locals, and I think we're building some awesome stuff. So at some level, we are kind of in business together, although this is the first time that we've ever spoke, except for that quick hello we had a couple weeks ago. So what was it a very natural transition for you to say, okay, here I am in the swamp, it's corrupt as hell, everyone's lying about everything, maybe I can help clean things up on the private side, which would be the social media side?
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story, actually. So I wrote this little pamphlet book called Countdown to Socialism in July of 2020. And so remember, this is before the censoring of the Hunter Biden laptop, and of course, all these people, millions of Americans getting booted off or censored on the tech tyrant platforms. Well, I had actually already quit Twitter because I realized that I was being shadow banned and it was totally useless for me to even be on the platform. So I was the first member of Congress to go to Parler. Okay, so Parler was the company that ultimately got Bezos, cut off their servers and essentially killed the company. But I quickly realized that I had at Parler. I mean, finally, so think about it. I was on Twitter from essentially the very beginning. I had, 1 million followers or something, maybe a little over 1 million followers. Well, when Parler got shut down, Dave, I had 4.2 million followers on Parler. Okay, and Parler, I mean, that was like in 1 year's time. So I knew the censorship that was going on. Okay, I had also been capped on Instagram. I've been like at 100,000 people. I liked Instagram, actually. I like to use it. I think it's interesting. People all over the globe are on it, and we'll get more to Instagram later because I think it's important in terms of the business aspect of what we have to do. But Instagram, I've been capped at like 100,000 followers for like 3 years now, right? I mean, I don't grow, and I used to use it. So anyway, 2020, I write this pamphlet, warn everybody about that this is happening. At the same time, I noticed when Dan Bongino, who you know, who was also there that night. So I had my little podcast that I was doing essentially, and the reason I created a podcast different than you, it wasn't to make money or anything. It was actually I had to find a way that my constituents and people all over the country could hear directly from me without being censored. So I used my national email list and database and everything that I had through my campaign side, and I was able to network, created this little podcast. And Bongino calls me. He's like, "Man, you're really doing well on this podcast." It was crazy because like I'd even get in like I probably never beat you, but like I would be in the top 20 sometimes, when I first started it. And anyway, he tells me, "Hey man, you got to go to YouTube." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Shit, I didn't know anything about, YouTube. So I knew about it. I had like a little account there, but I'd never really thought about doing video. So I did. So we started doing a simulcast, right? So I'd put it on the audio side, and then I'd also put it up on YouTube. And what happened was incredible. My audio just kept going up, 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 up. My video like shot up immediately, and then like if it could have had negative views, it would have had negative views. Like it flatlined, okay? And I said, this is impossible. This can't be possible. So I told my team, I said, let's find a freaking video player, because clearly there's no way I'm sending this out to 1 million people and people aren't, at least, like, I have enough family members that would at least feel sorry for me and at least click on it to give me a view, And of course, it didn't make sense either, because the audio listens were going up, right? It's in the heart of the election time. I mean, it's all about Russia hoax, Ukraine hoax, impeachment hoaxes. I mean, all that stuff is hot. People want to hear about it. And I was, I had really good guests on the show. And so I just said, and we came across this Rumble player. And it's a great story, because so I had 9,000 followers on YouTube. I thought, oh, it must be okay. I don't know how many people are on YouTube. It sounds okay to me. Didn't know any better. So I call up Rumble, and Chris from Rumble, the owner, the CEO of Rumble, he said at first he thought he was under investigation by the Congress. And then he quickly went into, because I just asked him this question. I was like, look, man, I just want to play so I can park my video. And if I put in Devin Nunes podcast, right? That was the name of it. Not very creative, but that was it. And I said, will it come up? And Chris is like, well, yeah, of course. Like, that seems kind of dumb. I said, well, go try it right now on YouTube.
Yep.
And that was like a moment for Chris. It was like, oh my God, you couldn't find it. Mm-hmm. Like, he couldn't find the podcast. Like, he didn't believe it existed. And then I had to send him the link so he could eventually find that, yeah, there was a channel and there was a link. So long story short, I get up on Rumble. And so, like I said, 9,000 followers on YouTube in 3 weeks. So no one knows of Rumble in the United States of America. No one. This is like pre-Bongino, pre-anybody who had went to Rumble. I had 35,000 followers in 3 weeks. And in 3 months, I had almost 400,000. And now, I'm sitting here today at 1 million. And I don't really, now I'm just kind of posting news clips on it. But that shows you right there. I mean, those are real numbers, right? I gave you the Parler numbers. I gave you the Rumble numbers. So, and in the book that I wrote, I essentially warned the people about that there was a funnel effect that was taking place. It wasn't so much that 95% of the news media is fake and slanted, because I can handle the 95.5, because I think we have a lot of good places, that between the podcasters like yourself and all the different news companies, the investigative reporters that we have, we can hold our own 95-5. But we can't. But the difference between what 10 years ago and today, and I learned this through the Russia hoax and how people's perceptions were and what people were learning, is I realized that we were just 60% of America was just kind of tuned out, never even knew anything about the Russia hoax. And what I call it is the funnel effect. So it's when you take that 95%, you feed it through a funnel, which ultimately becomes these phones right here, right, that are going through, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, et cetera. And then the left is deciding what people are able to see, especially those people that are most important, like conservatives, people that always vote. I mean, they're going to know the difference. But it's those people who really only vote in general elections. They don't pay attention a whole hell of a lot. But they want to do their civic duty. And I mean, we sat there for, year after year pounding away. It was clear the only people that had anything to do with Putin and Russia were Hillary Clinton and the Democrats and Adam Schiff, the Democrats on the committee. I mean, it was plain day, direct evidence that like this wasn't complicated, right? But yet nobody knew it. And you still had, even by election 2020, you still had over half of Americans thought that the Republicans had and Trump had something to do with Russia. So it was just a big problem. And I knew that until that funnel that the left controls, which is why they're so ticked off about Elon Musk buying Twitter, until you get rid of that funnel, we're going to continue to have this problem, like the problems we discussed in California and the problems we see in Washington, D.C. That's kind of the short story of it all.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.